Welcome to Daily Gossip. You will get daily Hollywood and sports updates here. Remember to subscribe for the latest videos. In a stunning twist that has shaken the NBA landscape and left Golden State Warriors fans heartbroken, the spotlight has turned from Steph Curry's injury to the player who was supposed to carry the torch in his absence, Jimmy Butler. The headline reads loud and clear: Jimmy Butler has failed the Warriors and Stephen Curry when they needed him most. And it's not just a performance critique. It's a heartbreaking, emotionally charged moment that raises serious questions about leadership, legacy, and whether the Warriors dynasty is quietly crumbling in real time. Let's take it back to the beginning of this story. Jimmy Butler's arrival in Golden State was a headline-grabbing, seismic shift that promised to usher in a new era for the Warriors. After years of blood, sweat, and relentless grit in Miami, Butler joined forces with Stephen Curry in what many believed would be one of the most dangerous duos in the league. It wasn't just about scoring. It was about chemistry, culture, and championship DNA. The stakes were high, the expectations even higher. Fans dreamed of glory, and the Warriors front office made the bold move because they believed Butler had that rare fire, the kind that could ignite a franchise already burning with legacy. But then came the unthinkable. Stephen Curry, the heart and soul of the Warriors, suffered a brutal hamstring injury that took him out of the playoff picture entirely. The timing couldn't have been worse. The team, already limping through inconsistencies, now had to face the Western Conference semifinals against the surging Minnesota Timberwolves. Without their MVP, the moment demanded someone to rise. All eyes turned to Jimmy Butler. And that's when the narrative began to collapse. In the play-in tournament, Jimmy was brilliant, scoring 38 points against the Grizzlies. In what felt like a vintage performance, the swagger was there. The fire was there. It looked like Jimmy Butler, the playoff monster we all know, was finally ready to own the spotlight in Golden State. He even had a solid showing in the first round against Houston. The momentum was building. Steph was coaching from the bench, willing his team forward. Fans believed. The locker room believed. But the magic ran out fast. As the Warriors faced the Timberwolves, a young, relentless team, led by Anthony Edwards and backed by an elite defense, the real playoff test began. With Curry out, Butler had to be that guy, and he wasn't. In Game 1, he looked out of rhythm. Game 2, even worse. Game 3, the cracks were impossible to ignore. And then came Game 4, the moment when the dreams truly began to unravel. 14 points. Just 14. But that's not the worst part. Jimmy Butler's shooting percentage plummeted to 13% when defended by the likes of Jaden McDaniels and Julius Randle. Yes, Butler was being smothered by elite defenders. But this is the man known as Playoff Jimmy. The guy who dragged the Heat to the finals, who gave us unforgettable performances with one good ankle, who was supposed to thrive. When things got ugly, instead, he looked lost. Some will argue he didn't have enough time to adjust. That being a mid-season acquisition never allows you to truly settle into the team's system. Others say the coaching staff failed to integrate him properly, to build the offense around him once Curry went down, but those are excuses. This was the moment Butler was brought in for, the exact kind of challenge where legends are made or broken. And Butler didn't rise. He fell, and with him, the Warriors' season. Let's be clear, this wasn't just a failure of numbers. It was a failure of leadership. Warriors fans didn't expect Butler to be Steph Curry. They didn't need him to shoot 50 from deep or replicate the magic of the 30. But what they did need, what Stephen Curry needed, was for Butler to carry the torch, to rally the troops, to fight with that old-school grit and grind he's famous for. Instead, Butler looked emotionally spent, disengaged, almost as if the burden of expectation had broken through his tough exterior. And in the background of it all, Stephen Curry, the MVP, the three-time champion, watching helplessly from the sidelines as his team unraveled without him. It's a gut punch of the worst kind, because this wasn't just a missed opportunity. It may have been the final chapter of this dynasty, with Klay Thompson aging, Draymond Green continuing his rollercoaster season, and now Jimmy Butler's inconsistency. It feels like we've watched the Warriors go from dynasty to doubt in the span of a few weeks, and the emotional toll on fans is palpable. Social media erupted after Game 5, the final nail in the coffin. This isn't the Jimmy we traded for. Steph deserved better. We watched our season end in slow motion. The heartbreak wasn't just about a loss. It was about betrayal. Fans believed Butler was the final piece. Instead, they watched their dream dissolve under the weight of missed shots and awkward possessions. But perhaps the most painful part of this story is that Butler knows. In the post-game interview, his eyes said it all. He didn't need to be told he'd come up short. He looked hollow, distant, a man grappling with the fact that he'd let down a team, a city, and most of all, a legend in Stephen Curry. That kind of emotional weight doesn't just disappear. It lingers. It haunts. What comes next for Jimmy Butler? That's the million-dollar question. Will the Warriors stick with him? Can he regroup over the summer, fully integrate into the system, and return as the dogged warrior we've seen in Miami? Or will this be a cautionary tale, a reminder that not every great player fits every great team? And what about Stephen Curry? At 37, with mounting injuries and the emotional toll of carrying a franchise for over a decade, how many more runs does he have left? How many more chances will he get to pass the baton before time finally catches up? There are no easy answers, but one thing is clear. This season will forever be remembered, not just for Curry's injury, but for what happened, or rather, what didn't happen after it. Jimmy Butler had the chance to become a legend in the Bay Area, to write a new chapter in Warriors history. Instead, the book closed early, and the ending wasn't happy. As fans, we mourn not just a playoff exit, but the end of belief. Because belief is what made the Warriors special. The belief that Steph could always save them. The belief that Draymond could always rally them. The belief that someone, anyone, would rise when it mattered most. This time, no one did. And now, the off-season begins. With painful questions. With shattered expectations. With memories that sting, but also with the possibility of redemption. Jimmy Butler still has a chance to make this right. To prove that this stumble was temporary. That the fire still burns. But if he doesn't, if this performance becomes his Warriors' legacy, it will be remembered not just as a failure, but as a tragedy. Because Stephen Curry deserved better, and so did the fans. This has been Daily Gossip, where the truth meets emotion and the headlines hit home. Subscribe for more dramatic breakdowns, exclusive insights, and everything you need to know from the world of sports and celebrity. Until next time, stay passionate, stay real.